yesterday, back day, and let me tell you, it was a great back day. Actually used an apartment gym. It was, obviously the range of equipment in an apartment gym is not exactly great, but you know what? They got some dumbbells, and you can really make an exercise work with just some basic dumbbells. And now they did have a machine. I was able to do some like lat pull downs and everything, so that was good. Kind of just spammed them out. So anyways, get back on track today with leg day. We are obviously quads, hamstrings, leg press. Not going to be doing any squats or anything. Nothing crazy. Could do some squats, but honestly, with the last leg day I had, I did leg press, and I was cooked. I was pretty much out for like a week. My quads were so like torn up that just walking down my steps was kind of like a task. It was like I'd get done making my protein shake, and I knew that the trek back down to my room was gonna be a little painful. Now it's not like it like altered my day by any means, but it was definitely there. Now with the leg presses, obviously, the Tom Platt style, he kind of tells you to aim for the outside of the foot, right? Get that outer quad kind of activation. But I don't know what was going on. It was at the YMCA. My whole quad was getting activated. I mean, everything. And then it was like a whole little like routine where afterwards we did what are they called? Lunges with like weighted lunges, and those really targeted the hamstrings. I was feeling my hamstrings burn. Now, I guess that's the like standing up motion that really gets the hamstrings going. But obviously we're gonna isolate those with some hamstring curls. Now, the goal is to, I feel like generally I have like a decent amount of muscle coverage on my frame for being natty and everything, but I do feel like my legs are my weak point in terms. I have great calves. My friend Thomas, he tells me not even to train calves, so I kind of have not necessarily let it go by the wayside, but I've really been trying to get my hamstrings and my quads, specifically my quads, because that's really the muscle that you can see hamstrings, they kind of poke out a little bit, but when it comes to people thinking your legs are like, cool or whatever, obviously everyone's looking at that quad, that like three-way split with that, that muscle down the middle, muscle on the sides. That's impressive, and obviously you kind of want that proportion where your calves and your quads kind of like match each other in a way, so it looks a little weird or a little janky when you have like small quads, small hamstrings, and like gigantic calf muscles, which was kind of my case before I started going to the gym. Now my quads and hamstrings are kind of built up. I don't know if they're necessarily equal to my calves quite yet, but the goal is to get there one day, right? Obviously the diet's kind of the same. I had my protein shake kind of late today. That's another thing I want to stress. Don't lack on the protein. Protein is, I think that generally everyone should be taking creatine and protein. That's just how it is. Now, like the amount that you take is obviously up to you. Generally 5 grams, all the way up to like 15 to 10 will probably be good. Every now and again I'll take like 15 because it'll really get the muscles like filled up with water. Like yesterday I took 15, and after that back day, my God, I was definitely feeling pumped up. And I'm not big by any means, but generally for like a 4-month lifter, I think we're in pretty good shape. And the fact that I'm not on any sort of like, outside the like hormones or anything like that's just an added bonus. Now, I'm going to kind of reiterate from like the last video. I think all of y'all in the gym need to go harder, generally. I was watching a Sam Sulek video yesterday, and I noticed that he only did 2 sets of bicep curls. And I was very surprised. I was really surprised because, obviously, listen, Sam Sulek's an IFBB pro. I can't sit here and say that what he's doing is incorrect by any means. It's obviously not. It's obviously like what works for him. But I feel like a little bit of higher volume is just good for everyone, right? Because like I'm going to go back to my whole like very basic philosophy on like the whole situation on building muscle and everything. It's like when you put your muscles under stress, like a ton of stress. Now, once again, you don't want to get injured, right? You don't want your bicep tearing off the bone. Come on now. Like let's be realistic here. But I think normally you'll have those warning signs where you'll kind of, something will feel a little tweaked, a little weird, and you'll know just generally, okay, maybe I need to calm down, back off just a wee bit. Maybe I shouldn't curl a full, like bench press bar with 45s on each side to hit biceps. Like let's be, let's keep it within reason here. What's that one guy's name? He's like an Australian bodybuilder. Can't remember his name right now, but that's exactly how he tore one of his biceps. He was trying to curl like something freaking ridiculous, like over 200 something pounds, tore his bicep. Like, come on, guys. Let's. I think I think there kind of is like 2 different categories for how you can get injured. Is one, you ignore like an obvious problem just because you choose to, like you just keep training past like, my elbow's hurting or my knee's hurting, and you just don't like address the issue. You kind of just keep training the way that you always have, and you put it to the wayside. And the other is like you just are kind of stupid, you're ego lifting, and you end up getting hurt because you lift significantly more than what you really should be lifting. So when I say train super hard, high volume, high weight, like I cannot stress it enough. I really feel like Jay Cutler was correct on that 8 to 12, like reps with each set. That just seems to be like the really good sweet spot. Now, if you go above, it is what it is. If you go below about, like 5 or 6, it's fine, right? But, as long as you're not like ignoring a potential point of injury that's already, maybe a ligament has been like partially torn, a ligament, and or it's just partially injured, you could like let it heal on its own and it'll be fine. If you ignore it and you end up getting injured, then, well, you shouldn't have ignored it. And secondly, it's like I don't ever do 1 rep maxes. Only every now and again, because right now I'm not really at the type of weight where it's like it would really mess me up. So, but that's only really when I'm with like, my friends were working out, and it kind of gets like a little bit of ego, but I really try to stay away from that because everyone's going to be a little stronger or weaker than like another person. You can't really like directly compare each other, but generally stay away from like 1 rep maxes. Obviously, I'm sure all of y'all have seen the Trend Twins rip, one of them ripped their pec off, trying to do a 1 rep max. And that's when stuff, gets a little iffy, right? Like what are you going to gain from a 1 rep max? Nothing. You're not really going to, the only thing that you're gaining is the knowledge of like what your new PR can be. That's it. But generally, it's like only a net negative because you risk hurting yourself. You're putting more strain on, whatever body part you're working. So I feel like in the future, your chance of injury could potentially go up, and it's just not a good idea. So aim for, like I said, like, I would say even like 6 to 12 reps. If you can like knock out 6, at least you're like kind of putting a little bit more weight on whatever you're working. Right now, for example, I'm on 35 pounds on dumbbell curl. I'm trying to work my way up to 40. When I first started, I was at like, when I first started, I'd never really did dumbbell curls actually. I was using the machine, I was using the straight bar, the 60 pound. See, that, the problem with Planet Fitness is they only go up to 60 pound on the straight bar, like curl, the straight bar, I guess, like, bicep curls. And that's just kind of like not enough. If they went up to like, really they should go up to 110, that'd be great. But obviously we know the audience at Planet Fitness isn't most of them probably wouldn't be able to lift, wouldn't be able to really rep 60 pounds anyways, let alone 60, 70, 80 or 90. So, it is what it is. But, generally just lift like heavy, okay? Get your reps out. And now I'm not saying my training style is going to work for you. Like I kind of just like do as many sets until I feel satisfied. And I actually had a friend say that I'm going to regret it and injure myself. We'll see. I told him I'd happily be the guinea pig, because so far it's been working for me. I take my protein, my creatine and everything, and I just feel like I'm growing at like a pretty great rate. Now, I'm not ignorant to the fact that I am taking advantage of newbie gains, but that's something also that you need to stress, that it needs to be stressed, is like, if you're just now getting in the gym, do not underestimate the power of newbie gains. They are almost, from my experience so far, they are almost as good as somebody taking like a full-blown steroid cycle, right? Now, obviously, if you've been in the gym for like 3 to 4 years, a steroid cycle, it's kind of almost going to be like you're getting those newbie gains all over again, because now all of a sudden your muscles are, being subjected to these hormones that they like super physiological levels of these hormones that they were never, subjected to before. So, but my whole point is, the more stress you put on the muscle, like I said, what is it going to do? Not grow? Like, come on now. That's just not, even if you're the skinniest dude in the world, have tiny muscles, right? Like you're what is it called? It's definitely not, I don't think it's that's whatever, endomorph or something, when you're like really skinny. I'm gonna try to get some footage in the gym. I don't really have a phone stand or anything, but we'll see what we can cook up in here. But all I know is it's gonna be a crazy leg day. It's gonna be, really that last leg day is what I'm aiming for. Where like I basically couldn't walk for a week straight. So, we'll see what happens. And then I think tomorrow is going to be arm day, because I can still feel a little bit of like residual, what's the word? Good Lord. I've lost it. No, you're good. You're good, buddy. Soreness, that's what I'm thinking of. Residual soreness from my last arm workout. But, all I did was spam dumbbell curls and spam tricep rope extensions and some straight bar tricep extensions, and that one machine that you grab each side. Now, one of these videos I'll take, that we'll see. But anyways, see you in the gym. All right. Well, leg day has been completed. And I would be lying if I said that it was my most optimal leg day. But, we all have those days where we're not feeling it, which is fine, But sometimes you just got to remember, hey, you got in the gym, you got a workout in, right? And I'm not saying that my workout today was horrible or anything like that. But, I will say I spammed, leg curls, and then hamstring curls, and then quad raises or whatever you want to call them. And then for leg press, I believe I did like 4 sets. So like, I wouldn't say horrible, but a couple of those I didn't really go to failure. So I'm not really like the happy, or not that I didn't, right? Like mentally, my body was saying, okay, I can't do any more. But I feel like I could have definitely squeezed out a couple more, if I really pushed it. But, the thing about that, right, is I don't have like a defined day, right? It's not like Monday through Thursday You know, it's not like Monday chest, Tuesday arms, Wednesday back, and then legs. It's nothing like that. It's just kind of like whatever I'm feeling, right? So like, because today's leg day wasn't the most optimal, odds are I'm gonna wake up and not have the most sore legs, you know, that I've ever had, right? I'm not gonna be walking up my steps like in agonizing quad pain or anything like that. So what's probably gonna happen is my next leg day is probably gonna be a little sooner. So I think overall, as long as you go hard, right, and you have like most of your days are you're killing it, right? Now, I also, my headphones are gone, right? Like, I mean, obviously I can go just as hard without them as with them. But man, I'll tell you what, when you got a really good song playing and you're getting hyped up from that song, it's a lot easier to really get hyped up and freaking pump out some crazy reps and go to failure. You're like almost screaming at yourself in your mind, like, you know, get the weight up, and you have this, you know, like great song playing in the back. It's like, obviously, in my opinion, that's kind of optimal. But you know, it is what it is. Tomorrow, gonna destroy arms. You know, obviously, like, you know, Sam Sulek talks about this sometimes. The coolness factor, right, of like hitting legs versus hitting something like arms or chest. It's like, think about it like this, right? What body parts do you think of and you're like, okay, that's you know, that looks cool, or that's like aesthetically pleasing or whatever? Most people are gonna say like pecs, arms, or at least biceps, shoulders, stuff like that. Like, normally people like girls or guys that especially aren't in like the bodybuilding community aren't gonna look at some legs, even muscular legs, and think like that's cooler than having some like really big biceps or even like really big triceps or something. Like, and you know, not to mention your biceps and triceps are like always showing. Obviously, you know, you can wear a good pair of shorts and you know, like show some of your quads or even a little bit of your hamstrings, but like generally, you know, normally if you're wearing a normal pair of shorts, you're gonna, right, like you're gonna be covering up most of the important part of your leg. So the only thing that's really gonna be showing is calves. And like, unless you're, I mean, I wouldn't say like a little freaky, but like if that's your thing, if you're like super into calves, or unless you're super into calves, you're probably not going to really be like caring about the way that looks. Whereas like, I feel like most people, you know, unanimously agree that like biceps, even back, right, like anything upper body just like looks cool, because like that's what you know, I guess always see, right? Now, I mean, not to say that having a big pair of legs is not cool. It is very cool, but like it's more, I guess like something like that is more noticeable to somebody that like that knows what to look for. Whereas like just anyone off the street, right? Let's say you have a crazy upper body, but let's say you have crazy legs and a crazy upper body. Odds are the first thing that random person's going to notice is your crazy upper body, not your crazy lower body. Now, that's not to say, I mean, obviously in the gym, you should go just as hard on legs, if not harder, than on upper body. Because, you know, in my opinion, the harder the workout, you know, like, the more, I guess really, I'm not going to say any body part's more important, but like legs especially, because most people don't like legs. It's almost like one of those things you just like want to like just freaking, because it's going to suck and you know it's going to suck, you may as well just like, you know, let it suck and get it over with and go as hard as you can to failure. And even at like the end of the set, sometimes I'll hold the weight statically, right? I don't know what the guy's name is, but he's like an old dude. Sometimes I'll see him on Reels or even YouTube Shorts or whatever. And he talks about like statically holding the weight, and I kind of like believe in that, right? Because like the whole point of weightlifting is to like have, you know, like time under tension. And even when you're even though if you're not like doing a rep, right? If you're just like statically holding the weight, right? Like halfway in the halfway point, you're still putting tension on like your legs or your biceps or really anything that you're doing it. You're still putting tension on that muscle. So, you know, like I'm not going to say that it's better than a repetition. I don't think it is, but I also don't think that there's like, you know, there's nothing good about that either, because at the end of the day, you are putting the muscle under tension for a longer period of time. And I'll even do that with triceps in the fully extended position, and I'll just try to hold it for as long as I can, or even like the halfway point, right? And I just feel like it's like, especially because it's like right at the end of the set, right where you're at failure, that's where you like grow the most muscle. So like, let's say you really just cannot bang out another rep. If you can just hold the weight, like even like a quarter of the way down, you're still putting that muscle under tension, which in my opinion, right, is going to be better than just not having the muscle under any tension. So, keep that in mind at the end of a set. If you've gone all the way to failure, you like mentally can't get out another rep, which, I'm not really sure where my stance is on the whole, like, there's always another rep sort of deal that Greg Doucette likes to preach, because there really is a point where it's like, okay, I can't, with like legs, it's a little different. I feel like normally you can probably like, really like tough out one more rep. But with like biceps and triceps, sometimes it's a little muddy, right? Like especially with my triceps, sometimes there really is a point where I feel like, okay, I'm cooked. Like, I just don't think I can get another rep, really, and sometimes it's as simple as like, just if you want to do like a little superset or whatever, you just give your muscle like 5-10 seconds to recover, and boom, you try to bang out maybe one or two just to get yourself like poised, like past that point of failure, or at least like, try to really just like hammer out a couple extra ones. So, and like, let's say you're not having like the best leg day, or the leg day that you had hoped for, like on that last, if you're like, okay, this is my last rep, I'm not feeling it, or my last set, I'm not feeling it today, it is what it is, like, first off, that's fine. Don't like beat yourself up too bad about that, right? There's always another leg day. But make sure on that last set that you have, you're like, okay, I'm gonna go as hard as I freaking can on this last set to like ensure that, like, because on that last set, you don't want to just like go halfway just because it's like the end of the workout, right? You want to like bang that one out. If you haven't been going to failure, that's the one to definitely go to failure on, right? And then like optimally, you'll kind of like hype yourself up enough to maybe do even one more set, right? Sit there for a second, kind of like give yourself a little pep talk in the head, and boom, maybe one more set. Obviously, try to get as close to failure as you possibly can. And yeah, that's, but I wouldn't say it was a bad leg day, pretty solid one, but my next one is definitely going to be a little more optimal. Let's just say that. Hopefully by then I'll have either find my headphones or get a new pair, right? Because normally I wear the ones that go over the ear. I do have some earbuds, but there's just something about having like a full over the ear headphone in the gym with noise canceling. It's like you're in your own little world. You got the music playing. It's like, there's really just nothing like that. But yeah, no, plan for tomorrow, destroy triceps, biceps. And I will say I did do a little shoulder workout. That was great. Shoulders are kind of one of those, is like that body part where it doesn't really like, it just kind of like works its way into whatever muscle group I'm working. If my shoulders aren't hurting and like, I just feel like I can do a little more, I'll pick up the 25s, do some crazy lateral raises. And today some dinguses decided to steal both the 20, all the 25-pound dumbbells, so I was forced to go up to 30 pounds, which I'm not complaining about, because at the end of the day, I've been really working towards getting up to 30 pounds. But I will say, lateral raises, man, those things, in terms of like getting stronger on them, I feel like it is like a kind of slow process, right? You kind of have to like ease your way in, maybe like do a couple sets of 30, couple sets of 25, and then next time you come in, 30 will feel a little bit lighter than it previously did. And that's kind of what's been going on with me, is I'll pick up the 30s, and at first I remember I was like, good Lord, this is some serious weight to be doing lateral raises with. And now I'm to the point to where, I can like generally kill a 8 to 10 set with 30-pound lateral raises. Now, thing is, some of those aren't exactly full full reps, right? Like a full lateral raise rep is like, you know, kind of getting your arm all the way up. Some of them are kind of like mild half reps, right? Because like it's just a kind of heavy ass weight, at least for where I am at the moment. So, you know, did some 30s, then one of the guys put the 25s back, and I was able to get the 25s to really rep out like those full range of motion repetitions. And, you know, so we're working our way up to 30 lateral raises. I'll tell you, I really, I'm gonna do some, you know, I don't want to give like any definitive, right, answers or anything like that to any sort of like kind of best workout, but there's just something about lateral raises that it hits the shoulders and almost like the upper traps or whatever, the upper back. It just gets like that whole kind of like sector of your body, and the pump from that is crazy. It's like I did one set of 30s, and my shoulders were automatically just like, I could feel them squeezing like against the shirt a little bit. I was like, God dang, I'm getting a pump instantaneously from this. But then again, I do think my shoulders are one of the body parts that kind of have like grown the most, like really fast. Don't exactly know why, but that's just how it is. But then again, like I said, I spam lateral raises all the freaking time. So, you know, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Like, you spam something or you do heavy ass weight, you go to failure as often as you possibly can. You're like, where is your body going to go, right? When you put it against the wall, it's going to like evolve, right? It's going to grow. It's going to get bigger. So that next time you get into the gym, you know, it's like, well, hopefully I'll be able to deal with the stresses of today, right? So, you know, every time I get back in, the lateral raises get a little easier. But, you know, then obviously it's like progressive overload. So like once I get to 30s, then my next goal will be 35s. The next goal will be 40s. So you just keep on going, right? Obviously there's like an upper limit, okay? Like 60-pound lateral raises is like, that is like crazy, right? I'm sure there's like maybe there's a very select number of people that can do 60-pound lateral raises, you know, like, and how many of those aren't juiced to the gills? It's probably like lower than 100, even if that, because 60 pounds is, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm way off with that, but 60-pound lateral raises right now, I don't even think I could lift the dumbbell at all. Like, I would just be holding them. So yeah, no, but like I said, you know, shoulders kind of work their way in with whatever workout I'm doing, depending on how they feel. So don't be afraid to, you know, like if you want your shoulders to grow, I feel like you just got to really hit them consistently all the time. Yeah. So anyways, like I said, tomorrow, arm day. Let's see, do I have anything else planned for tomorrow? I think generally just arms, because I just hit back yesterday, right? So arms, biceps, triceps, and I don't do any forearms. You know, some people, they do forearm workouts. I've never done forearm workouts because I feel like anytime you grab the bar and you do a pulling motion, you're automatically kind of working your forearms anyways. So not to say they're like a waste of time necessarily, but I don't think they're absolutely necessary, right? Because like you get a pump on your forearms just from freaking doing any sort of like back exercise, or even biceps, and, you know, even triceps. Like you're kind of getting a little workout on this like side piece with the ropes. Yeah, like I think, and then after arms, abs. I'm doing abs tomorrow too. I was gonna do abs today, but I was cooked. I'm tired. So yeah, I think in the next day might hit chest. We'll see how it's feeling. It's feeling pretty good. So I think tomorrow arms, next day chest, and the next day might be a rest day. We'll see. Not 100% sure. But yeah, see you guys tomorrow.